Let it chaos reign. Chaos Reign presents Retaining the Essence with Coach Ali. Broadcast February 21st, 2021. Enjoy.
The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
In a world where there's crime, corruption, violence, murder, rape, theft, and all forms of atrocity that plague the world in which we live in today. What you're witnessing, we are living in a state of chaos. And it'll take a greater or much extremer chaos to restore the order in which the world we live in today. Hello, black people. This is Chaos Rain here. Tonight, we'll be on. This is going to be more touching on the importance of certain things men should be able to do and follow if they're hoping to get, I would say, more productivity in their life or a better outcome. But before we go into today's discussion, I would like everybody to go to talkrealsolutions.com. On Talk Real Solutions, you see the list of, banks, other forms of establishment that's on the website. Also, we have the latest articles, news, and current events on Talk Real Solutions. And if you like the show, you could donate on the website as well. So feel inclined and throw a couple buckets or, dollars or cents towards the production of the broadcast. Also, you can now follow us on YouTube. Again, it's titled Talk Real Solutions on YouTube. And I think this one will be just the specifics of the show itself. There's also maybe another stream that deals with the after hour, and I think it might be separate from Talk Real Solutions per se. So be on the lookout for that. But normally, this show is streamed roughly 6 or 7 days of the week. So depending where you at and you're not doing anything on a certain night after 9 o'clock p.m., tune in to Talk Real Solutions. I come on 9 or 9:30 roughly on the Sundays on the average. So, you can catch this show and other people's shows over the weekend and during the week as well. Also, you can follow us now on Facebook. Type in Talk Real on Facebook. If you hit the like button, you might be able to get into the private chat or the chat room of Talk Real Solutions. It gets very hectic on the on Facebook. So if people are not familiar with the Facebook discussions on Talk Real Solutions, just like the group and you get into it, or you'll get a direct link where you're automatically added onto the group. But that's pretty much it for now. So on to the subject at hand, and let me see if Mr. Thompson shared the link. Tyrone, you might have to share the link so I can get the name of the show, or to know if it's active on the other YouTube. But anywho, while he gets that ready, he has it ready. Wonderful. Let's take a look. Yeah. All right. Good. Okay. Tonight's subject: Chaos Rain presents Retaining the Essence with Coach Ali. So if you're there, Brother Ali, you know what to do. *6 1, so I can see on the board. All right. Before I open your line, Coach Ali, let me check who this is. Hello? Call, open your line. Who's this? Okay, it's no one. All right. No further ado. Welcome back to Talk Real Solutions. Coach Ali. What's good, brother?
Man, I'm trying to let the chaos rain on them tonight, brother. How are you today? I'm doing well.
I'm good. I'm good. Welcome back. Welcome back to another broadcast. Um, we're gonna get into it. I actually before we get into it, for those that are listening first time, if you want to give people a brief description of yourself before we jump into the subject at hand.
Sure. Coach Ali, Coach Ali's Corner on YouTube. Your man's coach, blogger, speaker, and advocate. I'm over there providing content to help brothers become better professionals. For those who want career changes, I just interviewed a brother who is helping other brothers become best-selling authors, even though they hate writing. So if you're looking for a way to increase your finances and increase your net worth, come over to my channel. Come check me out.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Oh, one sign note, Coach Ali, an extra 10 minutes if possible, depending how the stream goes. Is that fine? Just a little extra 10 minutes, possibly.
Sure, that's possible.
Fine. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So now, the subject: retaining the essence. Before we go into it, for most men and women that are not familiar, especially for men, because we are men and we talk online, what is and the importance of the man's seminal fluid or his essence that he carries in his private area?
It's everything. It's everything that makes that man a man. You know, that's where his testosterone lies. All the vital nutrients and other essential minerals that are sitting, in the man's scrotum is sitting there for a purpose, and it's highly important. The most productive people understand that in order to get something done and to accomplish something in life, you have to sacrifice. And when you understand you have to sacrifice, that means you have to give up pleasures, including your sexual urges. That essence that you carry within your system makes you more creative, makes you more aggressive, makes you stronger, it makes you faster. It makes you retain more of your memory. Your body does this for you because it's making you the highest productive person you can be and the best suitable person for a mate. The more you lose it, the less productive you become, and as the NoFap community would say, the less attractive you become. No pun intended. So that essence that a man carries is everything. And it's very important to conserve those essential fluids as much as you can, especially for those who are, working on their next business venture, if they're trying to become the next, heavyweight champion of the world, if you're trying to produce that new album for your music, that essence is everything.
Interesting. Now, in delving into the subject matter, because I'm not sure how well versed you are in knowledge of this, is it said the older we men get, is there like a certain timetable how often we should be either engaged in recreational sex with the opposite sex, which is a female, or mostly if some dudes are doing it by themselves? Is there a certain limit to how many times he should be letting out the juices?
Yes, and I'm glad you asked that question. Hopefully I can pull it up as quickly as I can. I'm going to give you a reference book to refer to. It's called The Tao of Sexology by Dr. Stephen Chang. And Dr. Stephen Chang talks about, the older you get, the longer you want to refrain from, releasing those fluids, like you would like when you were a teenager. When you were a teenager, you could, self-stimulate, have intercourse, multiple times, turn right around and go play a full game of basketball without feeling any loss of energy. And now, as you get older, you don't produce as much testosterone. You have more financial responsibilities as an adult, and so you need every bit of essential fluids possible to help you carry that out as your body slows down its production. I'm still looking for the exact. I'm still scrolling through the book to see if I can find the exact figures. I believe if you're in your mid-30s, I believe you should only be releasing every 4 to 5 days. It doesn't mean you can't have sex, but you should control your ejaculation to a minimum.
Okay. 4 or 5 days. So, and I know one particular. I watched this on YouTube. Well, it's not YouTube. It's on Facebook. There was 2 people, 1 woman, 2 men. I don't know if I still have that on my history that I save on my message on Facebook, but usually they do like a calculator where they multiply it times the age, and it said this is how often you could bust a nut. And it seems a little odd, but usually as a man in his 30s, once every 4 or 5 days, that would make better sense because let's face it, the average male nowadays, depending if he's getting some or not, are busting uncontrollably, even as far as they're with a woman and they bust unrecklessly and producing children.
Correct.
So when we think about it, that this is something that, in regards to our community, sexual discipline is not very much a focus. It's actually taboo, even talking about sexual discipline. I hear talks about people talking about we should be more disciplined, especially men, with our seeds, but there's no real actual teaching, like a class or something that you're around groups of men and they show you how to hold on to your energy and importance down to a science, Brother Ali. And I think we should have more of this amongst our communities, especially when we're dealing with young men, black men that's under the age of 20. You get me?
Yeah.
Either they and let's be honest, I don't know what's the average percentage nowadays that men in America that's getting some or has lost their virginity first time. There should be data on that because outside America, certain cultures, race of people, especially age people, some of them stay virgins until they're like mid-30s.
Right.
And people think that the age people not getting sex, it's not like they're getting sex or able to get sex, but because certain parts of Asia, especially China, where there's a surplus of more males than females, it's a problem because males and then have to not only impose the environment, but they are looking to impose the dominant of a woman. And if he's not able to hunt and seek that woman, he is like, going to be left pretty much by himself.
Right.
And we all know what happens when there's a surplus of more ratio of males than females. Your population will start to dwindle. Even now, some of other ethnic groups from non-black people, particularly Caucasian descents, are having a negative birth rate. And not saying they're not having a lot of sex or less sex, is that they're not producing at all. So out of everybody in the world, we as black people still producing at still an efficient rate in certain parts of the globe. The highest right now is in Africa, with on the average 4 or 5 children. Here in America, it's like down to less than 2 now. And when in the next couple of years, if they do another census, I think it's down to 1 now. With us.
Sounds right. Yeah.
And not just us, just America in general, because I want people to understand, learn, and hear me good. You must understand that when we talk about procreation, it's only in America. If people not focus on this, that only a set of people should be procreating at a certain level, rather of their economic situation. I don't want people to be fooled that because you don't have it, you're not in place economically, that you should not procreate. I'm not saying that. I'm telling you that they make it hard for you, and what's the best way? They actually secretly promote that you should not be having children if you are non-white.
Right.
And they do it very secretly. No, see, they do it very much nice, smooth, instead of telling you personally that, maybe you should stop procreating for a while I try to catch up numbers-wise.
Yep.
Because remember, in the world you live in today, people, this always boils down to numbers. Don't be fooled because they got control of your mind that they don't focus on how many people in the world. No, they keep that always in your face. They do this in news outlets. They do it through newspapers. Do I need to go further down this rabbit hole, Coach Ali? They do this all the time and shove it in your face. Why? Because they know that if you're not replacement, you having a dying population, and the dying population is people that are older and no fresh young people to replace you.
Right.
So the wider you are in the color spectrum, the less you have an opportunity to replicate oneself. They are proving this. So what's the best way to combat this? I'll tell you. We're going to start mixing people in now. And by having a set of people that's mixed, that will potentially increase and further the lifespan of people that are considered white. They don't really care being pure white at this point. They can't afford it at this century now. If they want to still be around for another 2 centuries. And I'm only saying 2 centuries because I'm being nice with it. Because throughout the 21st century, the non-black people are going to still be around. Don't think they're going to be gone anytime soon. They're going to be around for another century. But if they don't do something now drastically, it could do it now when they're entering the next whole century. You get me? How I know? Because they already predict in America that there's going to be a browning of America by 2050. So that's 30 years from now, 2050. Then, all right, if that's going to happen now in this country, what's next? The next 50 years, you're going to see either a population of people that's still going to remain mixed or whiter. Because only thing close to whiteness is you go from mixed, then you go white out, and you could go back to white within 3 generations. And the way how the rate is going now, how they project it, they want to cut it down to 2. What I mean, what does that mean? That means if you're a black person, you procreate with someone that's non-black, 9/10 times, depending where you stay or reside in the region you are, your mixed child will go and procreate more whiter, and the next offspring will look more white, and eventually it become white within the 3rd generation at most. And the 3rd generation is the safe precaution one. Because now you're down to 25%, what we call less black heritage. So they already knew how they could keep themselves going in the next century. This experiment was done in South America. The president himself said it best. That's how he deals with the Negro problem. America never subscribed to that because they feel, say, what? Mix in? We crazy? We don't want to mix in with these people. We want to keep them permanent underclass and go as far as maybe slowly eliminate them. We don't want to get rid of all of them because we still need some people for some form of genetics or something to maintain us, but we can't get rid of all of them. You get me? That's suicide.
Yep.
See how people how these people think? They think long term. And how I know this and how Coach Ali knows this, because let's be honest, people, that after enslavement, they could have import and sent back a whole pile of black people that were slaves to Africa. They could do that. They have the money. They have the resources. Don't be fooled that said they're not going to do it. They could do it. If they're able to snatch you up out of your homeland to bring you here, they could damn sure put you back in the boat and send you back. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Any opposition? All right, so I want people to be clear. So that's my little intake and rant. I'll let you continue, Coach Ali.
Well, I won't be very long, but I will confirm. I guess we would call it a rumor. You can You can find this in that book, The Tao of Sexology by Dr. Stephen Chang. So every time a man secretes his fluids, that's where you get that myth of the 2 pieces of New York steak, 10 eggs, 6 oranges, and 2 lemons.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you get when a man loses about a tablespoon of semen. This is a fact that I'm getting out of page 63, out of the Tao of Sexology by Dr. Stephen Chang. So if anybody says that that's a myth, that's not true. I have the book source right in my hand. It's a blue book with gold and red lettering on it. And so this is important because, you know, your and like I said in the beginning, is that your essence is everything. You know, I boxed as an amateur for a few years, and every fighter knows while you're in training camp, there's no releasing at all. No girlfriends, no wives, no groupies, no nothing. Why? Because that fighter needs every ounce of energy possible to get that edge over their opponent when it comes fight time. When you're in some kind of hardcore training, you need that to get you through the tough and daunting task. You know, when you are constantly releasing, your brain is telling the body that, your body's telling your brain is that you are reproducing. Whether you, and this is if you're doing it to yourself, but even if you're doing it with someone else, you know, the body and the brain are constantly trying to come up with the best part or the best version of you, so you can be the most productive and seek out the best mates possible. But the more this fluid is released, you know, your step is just a step slower. You know, your mind is just a step less witty. You know, your beard may not be as thick. Your muscles may not be as dense and as strong, because you're constantly losing the very essence that your body needs in order to build muscle. You know, to keep that testosterone. Testosterone is a main factor when it comes to metabolism. So you can look at somebody who may have a belly, who may have those moobies, like the man boobs, and you can tell, you know, that person does not have a lot of testosterone in their system, because the body's not burning off that body fat, because their body contains a lot of estrogen. Reason why this is all important, because in Black America, we have a notion that your manhood is measured by how many women you can slay. And what's problematic about that is that in everybody else's society and culture, the ladies are a luxury or a perk of the man that you have become, rather than, you know, that's a stepping stone to you becoming that ideal man. If you think about it, let's look at the Elon Musk of the world. They will never be known for how many women they have slayed in their lifetime. What is he known for? His products. Producing the first, I don't know if he did the first self-driving car, but he's projected to have produced the first flying car here in the next 10 years. That's what he will be known for.
On YouTube. I saw some videos on YouTube right now that they're trying to make vehicles or more efficient flying planes that don't require certain fuel, but the more it takes off, the greater fuel it expews. Well, I mean, fuel is using what they call solar power, like, you know, battery type power.
Right.
So the higher it goes, the more energy it gets. So, like you said, he might be one of the few that comes out with a product that's able to get off the ground without any preparation. Because, you know, when you fly a plane, it needs fuel, speed, velocity, you know, all those mathematical equations to take off. Not the way now with technology now. You can easily take off instantly. and go higher and increase
Right.
in battery fluid.
Right.
So, and I forgot what
And
the formula was, but you know what I'm saying. Go on.
no, you're good. I just drew a blank on it because I just had it and then I lost it. But
Yeah.
the reason why I'm saying all that to say is that as a man, you will be remembered for your productivity. Nobody will be able to go to Elon Musk and say, "You're not a man. You don't pull women." You don't think that's what his main contribution should be? No, this man is producing what the country will be using, in the next few decades. This man will forever be. I think he surpassed Bezos for the richest man in the world because of
Really?
his.
I'll Google that. I had to Google that.
I know they were neck and neck, but the point I'm getting at is that this man has such a creative mind that he was able to build himself into the the guru that he is, and no one's looking at him like, oh, this guy look like he can slay bitches. Excuse my French, but and sexual discipline takes a lot in that to be able to say, I'm not going to waste my seed just to please, a animalistic sexual urge, just to get some pleasure. Because if you read a lot of books done by wealthy folks, the first thing they will tell you is that pleasure keeps you poor.
Yes.
And guess what us black folks do? We work from Monday to Friday. We go to the bar. We drink. We eat. Non-nutritious foods. Saturday night or Friday night, we're at the club trying to find, a random lady to go home with. We rest or go to church on Sunday, and then we're back at it on Monday going to work. Nothing wrong with being an employee. That's not what I'm saying. But, a lot of people who are poor are satisfied with the basic urges. As long as I get some good food, as long as I get some action from time to time, I'm content. And with a lot of busy folks in the mind of the wealthy, you don't have time to be, frolicking in the bedroom all day and night because you have projects to complete. Professional athletes, well, they're a little bit of a nuance because they have the ability to, but when you're in training camp, when you're traveling, you don't have that kind of time. When people are focused, one of my favorite people I love to reference, the legendary Prince. When Prince was working on the album, he would go on a retention journey for months while he's working on his projects. Because every ounce of essential fluids he had allowed him to stay creative, to keep that mind active. Because every time when you release, you get tired, you're groggy, that you're just a step slower. And so if you can master your sexual urges, you can conquer anything.
Interesting. I totally agree with this. I'll name some other people that we don't talk about, and these are non-black people for the sake of conversation. Tesla. He was never married to have children, but he was so
Nikola Tesla. Yep.
in his work, he created many things. He created so many wonderful inventions. It is said that he has the science to give the whole world power for nothing. But they stole that technology through all his blueprints when they killed him back in the 40s. Even let's talk about the laser gun that people think is myth or reality. He did create that. How can I tell you? I know because when you're a man and you on your purpose and you're on your grind and you hold, like you said, your essence, you get not only a lot of stuff done, but you are able to create beautiful things. Especially when you have nothing, you're able to create even more beautiful things. Now, in regards to us as black people, my notion is this, especially with black men, because we only can speak for ourselves, Coach Ali, that I think one of the greatest weaknesses we have as black men is we don't have that urge and discipline to control those urges, to do what we should be doing to make a better outcomes for ourselves and with other black men. One of the few things why I churn, well, not churn, but let's say as we get older and, before we even start using and expelling our seeds, we can get away with it when we're teenagers. But as we wind down becoming adults in our 20s and touching 30s, depending on our outcomes in life, we are less urged and productive to really pull out the full potential of what we could do as men. And every black man, if people listen to the voice, is not the same. But there's one thing unique and consistent with us is when it comes down with the bedroom, that we are known to really mess with our seeds inappropriately, to use it properly for our betterment. And it is a shameful thing to say that, but if we were able to master that alone, it'd be hard for a system to do certain things to us as we get older to keep us in a certain status economically.
Right.
Because to be honest with you, as men, you have to be always be productive. And we look at most men that are settling. What I mean by settling? Partying, like you said, on the weekend, taking unnecessary drugs, drinking, smoking, the weeds and stuff, and then procreating or having fun, expelling our seeds. It produced lack of outcomes, and it's shown for our everyday lives that we have potential, but why we can't exude that potential because of our behaviors. And one of the main behaviors we don't talk about is how we expel our seeds constantly. I mean, I heard stories of some dudes, they would sit there, maybe have sex twice a day with different women.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what age you are, but when you're able to bust an alarm rate, you got to do the math, people. What outcome you're going to get with this man is have the time to invest in sexual energy and spill it for nonsense. So, like I said, there's certain things that could be known to knowledge and learning how to use the CD properly for our betterment, especially when it comes down to testosterone, because testosterone is one of the pillars that makes you a man. And the more you lose it, there goes not only your manhood, but everything that makes you separate from the opposite sex. You get me? Let me give the call number for people that have questions. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 977-194#. Tonight's subject, Chaos Reign presents. Hold on. Should remember. Essence or retaining the essence with Coach Ali. Oh, Coach Ali, it looks like we got a lot of people in the chat room. Let me take a look in the chat room. This is interesting.
Okay.
We ain't active. It's funny when we talk about sex that it's amazed me how people just pop out of nowhere. Isn't it funny?
Well, of course. I mean, if you think about the most successful YouTube channels, it's what? Sex, relationships, dating, or in the manosphere's case, anti-dating, anti-relationships, making money. But yeah, when you and again, when we talk about sex and relationships, a lot of fellas' manhoods are characterized by their ability or lack thereof to attract and bed women. So of course, this would be a subject that people kind of perk their ears up at because they want to know, who's putting their Jimmy on the table.
Mhm. I agree. I guess some people did have some questions, and people call in if you have questions because Coach Ali is here for a certain period of time. And I see Big J in here. I know Big J's gonna come in here because he talks about sex. He's MGTOW, so call in Big J. One question a person asked, and I should ask this question.
Sure.
He asked, should men be taking testosterone supplements? Now, before you answer this question, I wasn't really sure that they have things like that for men, supplements for testosterone. But if you want to answer, you can go ahead.
Well, I am aware they have something called TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy. I'm not well versed in it. That's why I would say, if you feel like your testosterone is low, it's just to go on that semen retention journey, so that way your body will produce it naturally. One organic way I know that you can boost your testosterone is, one is cold showers, and if you can't muster the cold shower, is sit on a bag of ice.
You have to be cold to restore testosterone? Why is that?
Yes, because when I went to a cryo spa therapy session a couple years back, and the technician who put me in the chamber was about a negative 220 degrees, and how she explained it was when your body when your body is cold and it's at a freezing point, the body has an idea that it's dying. So what it does is it gives the body gives like a big push of an effort to keep the body alive. So it shoots, it produces testosterone at an alarming rate. It, circulates the blood, through the body as fast as it can. It's doing whatever it can to keep the body going. And then, obviously, you do it. I would say, if you're going to do like a 5-minute on, 5-minute off period, so that way it will get the blood circulating, get the body doing whatever it needs to do at an alarming rate, especially with a lot of Russian bodybuilders and powerlifters do it. Only they do the ice bath. They literally fill up a bath full of ice and ice water, and they sit in that, which is kind of like the equivalent to the chamber. But yes, one way to organically increase your testosterone is to sit on a bag of ice. What I will say is make sure you're wearing shorts or boxers. You don't want direct contact with the ice. But yeah, I'm not well versed on the testosterone supplements. Obviously your diet and your exercise are the main two components. But I would say, if you don't want to spend the money, just hold your seed.
Okay. So I take it if you've taken a cold shower is not enough. Am I right, Coach Ali?
I take cold showers every morning. I wouldn't say it's enough, but it's a good start. Because I'll be completely honest. I was an avid porn watcher since 15, 16, and it took it. And my body's still rewiring itself, from all the PMO, but that cold shower gets the whole body flowing. And so it's going to take some time, but it's definitely worth it in the long run.
Okay. So I guess hold on. So I guess you have to put the body in a certain trauma situation to accelerate those organs and those fluids to I guess save it from potentially dying. Because that's a serious trauma experience. If you have to freeze the whole body to a point where the body has to start react uncontrollably.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, especially us, of either indigenous, aboriginal, or African descent, we're tropical folks. And so when you are put in a cold environment, your body's already reacting to the elements. The body looks at, the main thing it protects are the brain and the organs. So when you think about when you're out in the cold and you're stranded, usually the first things to go are your toes and your fingers through frostbite, because your body can live without those things. And as you go on, and then it goes your legs, your arms, the body will get shut down, whatever, in order to keep the brain and the organs flowing.
Okay. I see. Okay, well, I hope that answered the guy in the chat room's question. I guess my other question, that, all right, a man doesn't really, have his sex or bust often. You said the other way of it starting to come back is you hold your seed. Is there can a man, I guess, go months without releasing, in other words, and be fine?
He could if he chooses to. I'm not going to be the one to say, hold your seed for 6 months. That's not me. If that's your goal, then I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Again, if you were somebody like me who was an avid porn watcher growing up, it will take your body a lot of rewiring in order to break poor habits and a lot of the sexual dysfunction that goes on with watching porn. But no, I'm not gonna be the one to say, hold for 6 months and see what happens. I would say, start off going a week. Just go a week without it and see how different your body is. Notice how you can hop up right away when you come off, when you get out of sleep. Or, maybe you don't need 9-10 hours of sleep anymore. You can maybe work off, 5 or 6. You may notice that your beard may come in, a little bit thicker. Your voice might get a little deeper. You may see, and I'm just talking about from a personal experience. You may see, some changes in your Jimmy, like, oh, okay, So whatever your personal goals are. So if you're looking to accomplish a task, or if you're trying to, get rid of your porn addiction, if you want to help with your sexual performance, as far as erectile dysfunction, I would definitely say that may be a plausible action to take. And even if you want to live longer, that's important too. I forgot to mention that one, because again, we talk about testosterone and metabolism. That man's essence really keeps the man's drive going, and when that man doesn't have any more life force in him, that's when you kind of see that man dwindling.
Yeah. I think Walt Chamberlain said he had intercourse with 1,000 women throughout his lifetime, and I think he lived up to his 60s. Could be wrong.
60. 60.
It was 60.
Now, peep this. Are you familiar why Okinawa, Japan is so popular?
No, elaborate. Enlighten me.
So Okinawa, Japan is one of the healthiest places in the world. Okinawa, Japan has the most centenarians on the planet, and those are people over 100 years old. When you think about people who are 100 in America, they're on walkers, they're in a nursing home, someone has to change their diaper. They're not doing too well. They're kind of just living on their last days, hanging on. But when you go over to Okinawa, Japan, and you can look this up on YouTube, is that a lot of people in that area are so active that they have like an Olympic style competition for these centenarians. So they have races, they have competitions, with strength, farming, tree climbing. These 100-year-olds are very, very active for their ages. And when you interview these people, yes, diet plays a crucial part of that. But in a lot of areas, they're not sex crazed as we are here in America. They they do the reproducing, and they do love on their spouses from time to time. But those men, and or not the women, because we're talking about testosterone here, but those men tend to live for a long time because they still have that life force in them. And when you read the book, The Tao of Sexology, I believe this is a Chinese doctor, but that's still over on that part of the world, is that they have exercises that they do for male maintenance, to make sure the prostate's intact, make sure the prostate's intact, make sure that that the jimmy's intact, making sure that everything's working properly. And we don't do that here. We kind of mask the problem and just kind of keep pushing. But they take their health very seriously over there. And for those who are listening, I urge you to get this book. The last time I checked, it was sold out. But it's very important to understand what your sexual urges mean for you, and why you should use that energy instead of chasing women is to chase your dreams.
Interesting. I think I had one book. It was a purple book by the Tao. I can't really pull it right now because it's in my chest. I kind of put it down after a while because I read it a little bit and wasn't really into it, because I would say because maybe it was written by an Asian man. But when I think about today's times, it's like, how can I use something like this to really apply in the real world overall? You get me? As a man. And like I said, I'm a man of collector of books and read a certain amount of books. Some I've completed, some I haven't. The point is this, that what information, especially dealing with sex, the act of sex, what it does, how to get the best out of it, it's not really much a focus on the average person in the West.
Right.
I think sex in the West is more based on fun than productivity. And the reason why is because it is a sport. It's for profit. Because, like you said, Coach Ali, which I didn't know you're a person coming up with you're 80s baby, right? 80s, right?
Yeah, I just skated out. I'm 89.
Okay. All right. So let's say, because you watch porn, and I think I watch porn. I have a show on this on my channel dealing with porn itself, and
the Porn Talk, right?
Porn Talk. Yeah. One thing I watched it. Yep. The one thing I think about it is that I did not know, and just not me, but just the average person, that this, when we talk about as a people, is taboo. But I entertain the conversation because it's something important to talk about, because this is a way of life for the average American person, Western person. And outside America, if you're black, you're going to be indulged in some form of pornographic. I don't care what they tell you. If you have TV, if you're in any third world nation with a television, you're going to indulge in it. You're not going to escape it. And that's intentional, because they know that to keep a set of people control, you control their urges. You control their environment, and you control how they're able to function with money. What they call sex, money, and drugs are three pillars of death, or actually 3 pillars of control and death for any nation. So you always got to understand, people, that sex is never going to be off the table. That's why you look at majority channels that we indulge in as consumers are, like you said, Coach Ali, relationships, which i.e. equals sex. I know that even the more popular YouTubers, they only focus on relationships that, like I said, equals sex. If you take those two equations off the table, you don't have no channel. And that's scary, brother.
Yep.
That is scary. Because people say that a lot of us work, we make money. No. I'm saying to people listen to me good. If you take that off the table, you don't have nothing. People are not going to learn and grow. They're not always going to figure out how to better my finance. How can I, work for myself? Because it is coming for most people living in the West we call America. It is already here. But we're not focused on it because we're more indulgent in how can I get the next nut? How can I, please this next mate or grab a lot of females? Or
Right.
women say, how can I get a man to do what I want? What I got to open my legs and fuck to get this? It boils back down to relationships, i.e. sex. So if you want to get an outcome on social media and YouTube, you're going to have to focus on that. I don't blame people that do it, and it's very effective, but that's not my priorities doing podcasting for years now. And not something I wouldn't dabble on it, but I had to be honest that if I don't include this in my programs, in some of my podcasts or in my channel, then really truly the ceiling of growth is going to be stagnant over time. Now, the point talk I do on my channel, which I still have one more episode to do, and I have to think what I'm going to do moving forward with it, is that I'm being honest. This is the only thing that gets attention. But everything I've done up to this point on YouTube doesn't even hit 100 views. And that's by design, to let people know, because even if I'm talking about things that's not problematic, it still not get pushed. Because I know that the beast is circulating information for y'all, for your indulgence, to continue to be perpetual consumers. And sex is a consumption.
Right.
If you don't believe me, I'll let everybody do this test. Like Coach always said, if you're a person and you like to bust a nut, and if you're a woman you like to bust a nut either your hand or twice, don't do that for 2 months. See what happens to you. And what I mean by 2 months, that means you don't touch, have no interactions. See how you behave after the first month. And trust me, if you're a person that has issues and you're stressed doing what you're doing, you're going to crack within the first week and a half, maybe 2, as a woman. For a man, depending if you're not getting something like that or you're getting a lot, you're going to crack within the next few days. And why I'm telling you this, because this will test you how much addicted you are over your own sexual organs. I hear people talk about they're single and they're celibate, but I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. When I hear this talk from a man's side and I hear this talk from a woman's side, because now I'm hearing men talk this now. Are you aware of this, Coach Ali? That men talk about they make towns, they might be all this. In the back of my mind, as a man, kind of think critically what people say, that you're still engaged in nut busting without a physical person there.
Right.
This applies the same way with women. You're taught by yourself, but you're still playing with your pussy. Stop it. Stop it.
Right.
You're not celibate.
You're indulging in the product without having to deal with the actual physical person.
Exactly. That's the point. That is the point. That you're still getting off without that person. And mind you, the way how we get off now doing that is kind of more harmful than good. I mean, the stories with most dudes, if you're self-indulgent, pleasuring yourself for a period of time, you have a certain stigma that you won't be able to climax or will bust a nut on a woman easy now, just by that alone. So imagine if it's that problematic for a male doing that. What's the consequence for a woman doing that? It's the same thing. You overstimulate yourself. So now that regardless how good the man is throwing the bed, it's not going to be saying you get your nuts off properly. That same orgasm is not going to feel the same because you program your subconscious brain, your mind, to self-stimulate through either hand or toys. Especially toys now that the toys are getting more and more advanced now, where they have you bust at a much quicker rate and much more powerful.
Right.
So, yeah. So
And
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. See.
no, and I was just gonna say the more what porn and what the toys have done is it have taken the art of exploration out of it. You know, there was a time where, you know, the idea of sex was, you know, I guess you would call it a little bit more, you know, romantic and sensual, but now it's just put two genitals together and just go until you can't go anymore. But it was still of an art. It was still of a dance to it. You know what I mean? And so a lot of frustrations you're seeing in the dating and the relationship world is that we don't know how to talk to each other. You know, and I'm not talking about having game or anything like that, but you know, the actual true seduction of the two beings. You know what I mean? Everything has so been watered down with the art of sex that it's not even it's not an art form anymore. And so I say all that to say this is that you take away the ability for the ladies to take away the toys and the self-stimulation, and you take away the guys. Well, for guys, it would actually benefit because, you know, when you get off the porn, you actually perform better. But, you know, a lot of people have basically they have like a pre-recorded script that they go by, you know, either through watching porn or through the successes that they've had scoring with the opposite sex. You know, there's no art to, you know, how do I get this woman or how do I get this woman? It's I'm going to stick to the same script because this is what works for me, whether it's in the virtual world or in the actual physical world.
Mm-hmm. And one thing with the porn, does a person get like just watching alone? They get too overstimulated just by watching it over a period of time, because a lot of us we don't know that just watching them can possibly be detrimental for our psyche. I'm not sure if you want to go in detail.
It's very detrimental. So let me put it to you this way, Chaos Rain. What's your favorite food?
Oh, that's a good question. Let me think. Chicken. I'll say chicken.
So, this may be hard to come across, but do you remember the first time you had chicken?
Yeah, it's a long time, man. I haven't lost it. Yeah, but I might. Yeah.
Okay, so let's I'm gonna just stick with the reference so you know we can just stay on the same page here. So the first time you had chicken, it was like, oh my gosh, I've never had this before. This is so good. You know, it's tender. You know, it's crispy. You know, it's the skin is flaky. This is the most delicious thing I've ever had. Right?
Mhm.
So, and I'm just, you know, let's just say your first piece of chicken was fried chicken. And then you get introduced to baked chicken. Then you get introduced to barbecue chicken. Then you get introduced to chicken tacos. Then you get introduced to chicken nachos. And that's just one category. And that's just one category. Then you get introduced to beef or red meat. Then you get introduced to hamburgers. Then you get introduced to tacos. Then you get introduced to steak. Then you get do you see where I'm going with it? So
yeah, I'm following.
So every time you come across a new female, the brain is like, I'm about to mate with this new woman, even though it's through a screen. That's the downfall about porn, is because the brain's like, man, I get 2 or 3 dimes every night. And so when you get into the real world and, you know, one shows up, you're like, I don't know how to talk to her. But I'll continue. You know, sometimes you may muster up the courage to go talk to a woman, but if not, you're like, it's okay. I got my stash back at home that I can take care of. It takes out the incentive to go try.
Mm, I see. I see. I see. Yeah, it gives you a fulfilling process. Say, why I want to try? I got this. So neat. It'll make you get the urge to really just to hunt in a way. You
Exactly,
know.
because if you're on, and I'm talking for me too, is that when I was in college, I'm out, I'm partying, I played football in college, and if I struck out twice in one night, like one chick was like, I'm not, I danced with her, I don't get the phone number. One girl just flat out don't want to talk. I'm like, what, it's cool, I got Jada Fire waiting for me back at the apartment, like it was just like I didn't have to, I didn't have to care anymore because I tried twice, when I go back to my apartment, I got something for me that will always say yes.
Mm, mm, okay. Okay.
You know,
I think I follow. Yeah, I follow you. I follow you. Okay. Okay. This one question just came to my thought
sure.
because now we find that a set of this is gonna be off top for a second. We know a lot of women now are having just as much sex as the men.
Right.
Does the women start to build up testosterone once they engage in more sex, or this is only a male thing, or something that in regards to reversals, like we are known to have testosterone and women supposed to have estrogen, right?
Estrogen.
So what
Well,
happens? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
in a way they do, depending on how reckless they are with their wombs. And the reason why I say that is because if they're not using protection and the man's not pulling out, then yes, if they don't get pregnant, that those nutrients do get transferred to her. How the hood saying was when you saw a woman getting more curves that may have been more skinnier, the guys in the hood would say, "Oh, somebody hitting that," because
Mm-hmm.
if they're not using protection and she's not pregnant, those nutrients are still being absorbed into her. If it's not being used for a baby, it's being transferred into her blood system, into her stream, and that's why what a lot of women when they gain what they call happy weight, they're getting a lot of sex. So if she consumes your fluid through the mouth, or if she takes it vaginally, she could still gain weight in those ways because that's a lot of protein, a lot of other nutrients she's still taking in.
Natural protein, actually.
Natural, right? And so, yes, in that way, she can increase her testosterone levels, but in this case, I believe their sex drive is more social conditioning rather than an increase in testosterone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean everything is socially engineered in this environment, and even I've known that women, as they get older, they say their craving for sex is more than they were when they're younger. I'm not sure why that is. It's kind of odd because as men, we could still do it at a certain age, but like you said, Coach Ali, you can't be busting like that. You get me, especially if you're not learning semen retention. And I go as far as holding your seed during sex.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's science that the Tao do talk about. That's what when I bought the book the first time, is to understand how can you have an actual orgasm as a man, and you could do that without busting a nut. So a lot of people
That's
think
correct.
it's foolish. It is because when you expel your seed, you're releasing all the essence and energy. You're supposed to build up inside,
Right.
and eventually it's like a constant flow of the chakras. Everything lits up. It circulates. So the
Yep.
more that you get, when you have an actual orgasm, it kind of gives your whole body a new found energy. Matter of fact, the longer you stay in the sex act while you're holding, you're actually starting to heal yourself if
Yep.
done correctly.
I was about to go to that point too.
So that's when sex is used for many things. It is not only a procreation act, but also a healing form too.
It's a healing form. You're right.
Yeah. Now, if
are you? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, are you familiar with reflexology?
No, I'm not familiar with that. Not really. No.
Okay, so reflexology, it's an ancient practice. Is that everything is connected to everything. So, have you ever struck a nerve in your foot, but then you felt it in your arm?
I couldn't recall, to be honest with you. It's been a while.
Okay, so there are meridians and nerves and organs that are all connected to each other. So the reason why this is important is to talk about the healing is that do you know why brothers love head so much?
My guess is you're touching the tip and the head first, which is I think connected to the heart or
Bam.
The certain parts of the phallus. There are nerve endings that touch and focus on major organ parts of the body. I forgot as you go lower.
You hit it right. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
No, I was saying you're absolutely right.
I think some parts of the lower part of the shaft of the phallus, which is penis, if people don't know what I'm saying, they'll touch the liver, the pancreas, the kidney, all that. Now, mind you, this only applies to women. Ladies, listen good, ladies, how good your head game is. So a man is very much equipped. If you want to touch every part of his organ of his body, you're going to have to go down hard, deep throat, all the way. So a man is bigger than 9 or 10 or 12 inches. If you want to touch his nerve, well, let me go on. Let's you get the rest. You know the rest.
No, it gets no pun intended. It gets deep, and I'm in the book right now, and the same thing for ladies. The reason why a lot of ladies are size queens is because when you get towards the back to the uterus, that's where her heart is touched. Now,
okay.
Now, what I will say, just reading this book, and this is from page 100 from the Tao of Sexology. I'm not making this up. Usually, a lot of ladies, if they work with a guy who's not well endowed, or a guy that doesn't like to penetrate that deep, the first two organs that are connected to the opening of their opening are the kidneys and the liver. And if you know anything about kidneys, when a woman's there, right?
Yeah,
and what water. And it also, the kidney shoots cortisol, which is the stress chemical when a woman is very upset, frustrated. And so a lot of times when the opening is being stroked, a lot of ladies get very vocal because their kidneys are being worked through that organ, and they look at that person as a healing type because a lot of energy a lot of anger, and a lot of raging emotions are stored in that kidney. So if you work that vaginal opening in the very beginning, you may be releasing some anger that she may have. Yeah, deep sex is a very there's a panoramic view to it. There's a science to everything that you do. There's art and there's a science to sex. And so again, so if there are any ladies watching, those are two components. We should do. Because since we deep into the book with this and we deal with the male side, we're gonna probably come back and deal with the female aspect of this. I think it would be fair. So I'm gonna check the line if anybody has any questions now, because we can go further, and I'm not sure if I have any other questions, Coach Ali. But I think tonight, we went deep in this rabbit hole, and there's so much more.
And I might have to start find my book and maybe start read up on certain things. But yeah, this is something to be educated that people will like. Because let's be honest with ourselves. We live in a stressed world, people. A lot of things that we are known to custom as black people. That the only time when we really get calm when we're dealing with each other, man and woman, is in the bedroom. And that tells you how much we're very much sick, mentally and physically. Because the stress of the world will hurt you. And the way to release that, you have to get into the bedroom and penetrate all those organs to release the stress that was kept in you for such a long time. And not only that, it also shows the indication, ladies, how your man's behavior is, the less that he busts a nut. So you have to pay attention to that as well. If he's constantly angry for the past week, days, you always got to keep in mind that when last time he actually you gave him some. You get me? Just like you, ladies, when we know that you're at a certain level, miraculously you shut the fuck up once we put that dick in you. It's not no lie. It's a science. That's what sex is there for. So let me check if anybody has to call. I know one person raised their hand and they put their hand down. Oh, well, the call number is 712-770-4160. The access code is 977-194#. I repeat, 712-770-4160. Access code 977-194#. Tonight's subject, Chaos Reign presents Retaining the Essence with Coach Ali. I'm going to have to write a note for the next upcoming broadcast when I bring it back. We're going to deal with the women's side of things of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my final question, and I did saw you on O'Shea with another brother, and you did talk about this on his stream maybe a few days ago. What are the few things a male could do now if he has some form of problems, like to, I guess, solely repair the problems he faces, I guess, in the bedroom?
So sexual performance.
Yeah.
Well, what I will say, sorry, I got a baby who's hungry, so I'm trying to feed him up some food real quick. The biggest thing I would say is you want to do as much maintenance as possible. So what that means is lots of water, no more fried food, no more fried foods, more vegetables, more fruit. The biggest one is your Kegel exercises.
Okay, you piss and you hold, and you piss and hold. Wouldn't that affect your prostate doing that shit?
It strengthens your prostate. A lot of guys have sexual erectile dysfunction because their prostate is either swollen or it's very weak, or both. When you strengthen that muscle, it helps circulate the blood flow, so you get maximum stiffies. I don't want to sound like a commercial, but so if you can do 100 reps of squeezing the muscle and releasing throughout the day, I would say you're good. Just like the ladies, do their Kegels to tighten. Guys, you can work your Kegels to harden. And if you're not getting a lot of blood flow down there, that might be a reason why you're not, as you were, when you were in high school or in college.
Okay.
But yeah, so I would definitely say if you're having issues, and again, I'm not the one to judge you. I'm not the one to say, you're weak, you're lame, you're gonna get cheated on. That's not my lane. Definitely do your research. But I will say, get rid of all things that hinder your overall health, the fried food, the dairy, the alcohol. Replace that with fresh fruits, vegetables. If you cannot buy organic, buy your regular produce, put it in the sink, fill it up with water, and put baking soda in the water, let it sit overnight, and the water will turn black, because that's all the pesticides and chemicals that are in the water, or that are in your produce. And make sure you exercise.
Okay. Does also low testosterone also causes low sperm count? That's one question that came to mind now. I forgot about that question.
Yes.
I think okay. So I guess if you take the cold showers, if you can, and I'm not advising you to go into the hypothermia type, what do you call it earlier in the stream? Because like a lot of dudes not gonna do it if they have the money, if they could. But the second best thing is, take a couple cold showers a week. You don't have to start take them every day. You should gradually start slowly mix up how often when you bathe, what showers you take. You get me? Because in this country, we're accustomed to taking hot and warm showers.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, I like taking warm and hot showers. I mean, I can't take showers super hot, but you get what I mean. And to let people know, as a man, when you take warm and hot showers, you also reduce your sperm count. This is a fact.
Correct. Yep.
Because the body doesn't deal with. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that's why your testicles are outside of the body and not inside, because that's the coolest place that the body could put it in order to produce sperm.
Yeah. So if it, and I'm not saying people, to a lot of you dudes that sit there that wanna go into women without no women raw and feel that if you take a hot shower you won't knock her up. Don't depend on that. As long as you still got sperm in you, you can still knock up a woman. Don't be fooled. You get me? If you don't want to impregnate a woman, there are many precautions. One, you could do your exercise. You piss and hold, and you create not only a strong erection, but also you're able to know when you're about to bust, so you don't premature ejaculate. You get me?
Yep.
Another thing, that's one way. So if you're going to be going raw, you go that route, and that way you make it easier for yourself to pull out. And if you're not strong in pull-out game, which most black men are, because they say their pull-out game strong, I beg to differ. You put on the condom. You get me? And when you put on a condom, you don't put on one. You put on two. Do you hear me, brothers? And other black men or men in general. You put on two condoms and call it a night. Do not put on one condom, because condoms right now, Camille and Cerulli expresses to one stupid dude that he think condoms were like 98% effective. No, it's 87%. Which is still high, but it's still the possibility of impregnation is still at an 87% rate, not 98 or 99% what they say it is. That's bullshit. You get me? So if you're concerned about not having kids, do those two routes. Make sure your pull game is super strong, and if it's not, put on two condoms, not one, because you can't trust your seed at an 8% percentage with a condom. Now, come on, when they make them, they poke the holes in them. You get me? To give it some air. And if you got that real good nut busting, I don't think you should depend on that one condom. Especially if you. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's a new one to me, because in my sex education class, and again, I'm an '80s baby, so maybe it's been revised since then. I thought when you put on two, that gives the friction with two condoms cause tearing. But
yeah,
but I don't know. Maybe, like I said, that's new information for me. So if that's something that's new out here, wearing two, that's new information on mine.
No. The reason I come up with this, and I know somebody's going to steal this, I don't give a damn. You hear it from Chaos Reign first. The reason why I say two, because I look at the percentage. I don't face anything now because we're now in a stage, not only in this country but globally, in a depopulation stage. So for most men, because they said they don't want to have kids because either they don't want to deal with the mother or the future mama, or they don't want to deal with problems with child support, the best thing you could do is make sure your junk's tightly wrapped. And I look at the percentage and look at not only what you're doing, but the friction. You got to think about your own size. Number one, you got to put in as a factor. Number two, you got to think that these comms are designed to poke holes in them. So obviously, when you're talking about 95 to 87%, that's still a good percent conception could happen. Because most women nowadays, they say they're not on no pill, but you can't base that now because a lot of women, if you hear from a lot of talks, they don't like to use certain drugs to prevent themselves getting pregnant because it causes side effects, either weight gain, irregularities, all this stupid shit, which I'm not fronting. I'm not going to knock the women. I tell ladies, make sure you protect your woman at all costs without any side effects. And they have natural procedures for that. But people got to research that. But like I said, for most men, I'm only speaking to the gentlemen, you got to do this for your own protection. If you're serious, if you don't want no children. You get me? Besides all this other stuff, you only can protect yourself at the end of the day, So,
real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I just wanted to put this out there because I've been using this with my wife, and we've been together for 10 years. Fertility test. Fertility test. Okay. You can go to your local grocery store, and they're $12. Mm-hmm. If you're messing with somebody regularly, have them go in there. I know it might kill the mood, or have her do it during the day. Have her pee on that stick, and you will know if she's in that fertile time window, so you know whether you can get reckless or not. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. See, this is why I'm glad I brought you on here. I did not know this exists. Ladies, you hear that? And gentlemen, if you deal with a nice, fine thing and you having your fun time, if you want to know when's her normal day when she has a potential be ovulating, that's what we call ovulating, get those type of devices for less. And to be honest with you, women, you should know when you're ovulating anyway. And if you don't know your own cycle, that's the best thing besides seeking out a woman, a cultural woman, either an elder woman or a woman that knows her body to teach you. Because we know we're not being taught in our communities. Especially women are not being taught when they have the potential to give birth to children or not. So that's the best route to go. And as a matter of fact, it's the cheaper route. Because now you know when the days you normally ovulate. And you can know your own body just by that test alone. Am I right, Coach Ali?
Right on the money.
So now that means you have no surprise. So the days you don't ovulate, like I said, for most dudes, and a lot of dudes are going to be smiling and hard. They're going to say, oh, yes, I can shoot the club now without no problem. It's like that song. Hallelujah.
Right.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And you see that man make that expression in his face. I say, God damn, I know you a breeder when I saw you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But this is a good show. I almost lost my train of thought. But yeah, that's my suggestion for men to protect themselves. But this is some helpful information. For those that missed this stream, like always, go back to the playback. Coach Ali, any links for people to follow you, if possible?
Yes. So Coach Ali's Corner on YouTube, hasani.r.ali on Facebook. Feel free to check me out. And again, I am providing a lot of professional content. I will get into the science and art of sex at some point, but I do want to put the right people in front of me, that this is not going to be that all the channel is about. So again, I just wrapped up an interview with a brother who owns a publishing company, who are helping brothers become best-selling authors, even when they hate writing. So check out my content and, come check me out, come holler at me.
Mm-hmm. And writing, you mean like you wrote books yourself, right? I don't know if you're a writer yourself, Coach Ali, because this is something I didn't notice. Yeah.
Yes, I've been a journalist for 15 years, and then I wrote a book with my wife 4 years ago.
What's the book name? What's the title of the book?
It's called Fasting Make Your Love Electric.
Excellent, excellent. Damn, man, you got some content, bro. Yeah, we're gonna be good friends, man, on here for a while, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that I can do to help out.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Most definitely. All right. Thank you again, Coach Ali, for coming back up again. You know, I think the people are very much happy. Come look at the chat room, and they're very much live tonight. Surprisingly, you know, normally I talk about other important topics, certain things, but tonight I had to really focus on this because I'm be honest. I mean, hear about relationships, sex, it's good, but we really haven't boiled down to a lot of men that talk about say they don't want to have kids, protect your seed. But I always go back and say, how can you protect your seed? What steps? What methods? You know, I think this is more of a teaching thing. And I think a lot of men that will listen to us, and I guarantee they will listen because I'm gonna make this go viral one way or the other. That they're gonna have to take this information to heart. Now,
Right.
the books I recommend, I don't have the book in front of me, but it's a purple book with the guy named the Towel. I might put the link in the description with also links with Coach Ali where you can find him during the end of the stream for you to look up, you know. And I think my friend one time bought DVDs that shows exercise of it too. So, you know, the information's out here, you know, you just gotta find it. You get me?
Yeah.
That's all.
And real quick before you let me go, again, the book I was referring to is called The Tao of Sexology by Dr. Stephen Chang. So everything I reference, I'm not talking outside of my behind. This is a literal book that I actually read, and so I have a whole library of books that I get all my references from because obviously, you know, when you read and you know better, you do better.
Mm-hmm. You have like a big library at your household?
Oh yes, you should see. I have two big bookshelves on each side of my fireplace.
You should do a short video just to let people get a glimpse of what's in the treasure chest of Coach Ali. You know.
I'm working on it right now. We're actually getting the house together to be put up for sale. We're actually going to be moving down to the Georgia area, so the house is a little mess right now. But I'll probably take a picture of it. But I'll probably be taking a picture of it before we get out of here. So, yeah, we're trying to get up out of this cold. We can't do these Midwest winters anymore.
Yeah. Well, my advice now that you're going to another environment, I'm telling most brothers and sisters right now, the way how a country like this is running, because we have certain seasons. I want to bank that we're going to be avoiding any cold. I mean, there's certain parts that's going to be cold still, but this is what my projection how things move forward. I project all environments, because I'm in the East Coast and you're in the Midwest, that have 4 seasons. Those seasons are going to be slowly changing very soon. Because there's going to be a point in some parts where it's going to be warmer days now, where you're barely going to see winter. In some parts where it's normally winter those first 3 months. While you see other parts that never have snow are going to have snow. You get me? It's going to be a reverse.
Yep,
now, we could say we could say it could be global warming. It could be that. But like I said, things change for a reason. You get me? So I don't base where I locate where I live to avoid anything. If I really was serious, I go to a different country to worry about that per se. But as long as I'm living here in the West, we call America, that no season is left unturned. You get me? Because think about what happened to Texas. A lot of people are not prepared for that type of weather. Their houses, their pipings got busted, all that stuff. Bro, that is very much problematic. And a lot of people are not prepared for that type of condition. But like how you meet, because we run environments as 4 seasons, this is normal. You get me? So I cannot be as man be comfortable saying that I live in 4 seasons too much. I get it. For people who could do it, that's up to y'all for better life. But I wouldn't say I'm gonna escape the cold. No, it's always a part of life as long as you live in this Western region in America, in the West. You get me? The only thing I know is how can I be able to adapt properly on any environment, any across the earth. Once a person knows how to adapt officially, he is almost as God. No cold can bother him in his productivity, even though hot can bother him in his productivity. As long as you know how to operate in any environment you're in, you are well suited to survive anywhere. And I mean anywhere. So anytime certain catastrophes happen, you know what to do to prepare. You know what to, because you've seen this already. So, but that's all. Thank you again, Coach Ali, for coming up. You know what I'm saying? We're going to do this again very soon. All right, brother?
Very soon. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me on today and looking forward to the next one.
All right. Take care, and we'll talk offline.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
You too. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm. You too. And for everybody that called, well, not everybody calling tonight, but for all those that was watching and listening, I hope you take some out of this discussion, learn. For all the men, like I said earlier in the stream, if you don't want no kids, there are many options you could take as a man. Now, one option I will not tell you is you should not get your thing snipped, you know. So the best thing you could do is either don't have sex at all, but if you are going to have sex, either you make sure your pull-out game is very strong, meaning you don't have premature ejaculation or real actual ejaculation, you don't have them problems. You go that route, or you go the condom route. And I'm not saying one condom, I'm saying two condoms. Because like I said, two is better than one. And these are only methods you need to take of any age, as a young man or older man, to take if you not want children. And that's as fair as I could lay out on you. So take these advice, take them seriously, apply it in your life, and be productive as a man. The more you can hold your essence, your seed, the more productive you will be in anything you're doing, whether it's work, school, as an entrepreneur, and also creative, if you're trying to create some new or create some out of nothing. So these are the message from Chaos Reign. I hope you take it to heart, apply it, and be great. Thank you again for listening to Chaos Reign stream. Be on lookout for the next stream. And it's going to be a probably good one if I can get them, but we'll see. Until next time, take care and good night. Thank you for listening to another broadcast. I'd like to thank special guest Coach Ali for coming by in regards to this subject matter. And you can follow him not only on YouTube but also on Facebook. The links will be in the description of this stream. And like always, comment, subscribe, and like this video. You can now follow me on Facebook, Eric Rain. And you now can follow me on Twitter again, at Chaos Reign the 7th. Thank you for listening. Until next time, let it chaos reign.